me this opportunity. Ma'am, it would be nice if you would start sharing the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, kindly bear with me that I'm not switching on my video because, for the past some days, there are heavy rains in Hyderabad, and here the network is not that good. So, on a safer side, I decided not to switch on my video. So, now today we're going to discuss about classroom psychology. Now, what exactly you mean by classroom psychology? Classroom psychology, to be very frank, it's a branch of psychology. We also, the ones who have done B.Ed, the teachers who have done B.Ed, they can understand. We had a paper called educational psychology. So, classroom psychology is a part of your educational psychology. It is to define, it is a branch of psychology that deals with teaching and learning, how we behave in the class with the students. So, how we are teaching and how they are learning. A teacher, when we are teaching, we are also learning. Along with teaching, we are also learning. So, it is a composite mixture of teaching and learning that takes place in the class. So, today's entire session, we are going to see the role of a teacher, how she accommodates with the student and tries to deliver her content, right? So I repeat the definition. Educational psychology or classroom psychology is a branch of psychology that deals with teaching and learning. Ma'am, next slide. So here, this is the first slide that I've kept here. Why I've kept here? Because, the entire crux of my entire presentation, it depends on this slide. Classroom management is not about having the right rules. It's about having the right relationship. So here we are not robots. Still, AI has not entered the classroom. So we are still teaching with our students. So the way we connect with our students, the kind of relationship that we share with our students, it is not monotonous. The moment we enter the class, we simply don't start off with the topic that we have to finish. We have to relate. We have to connect with the students rather than emphasizing discipline and rules. It's always good that when we connect with the students, we don't have to discipline the students. We don't have to worry about maintaining rules and regulations in the class. Connection is enough. Okay, so the main crux of my entire presentation is the relationship between the teacher and the student. Apart from delivering the content, the foremost principle that the teacher should keep in her mind is how she connects with the student, because you have a variety of students. All students do not have the same mindset. All students do not have the same intellectual capacity. All are different. All are unique. Our own biological children are not same. So how can we expect a class of 60 students with the same mindset? All are different. So the teacher should be well versed in handling all the 60 minds. Okay, so for that reason, I wanted to keep this slide. Ma'am, next slide. Now, firstly, coming to classroom psychology, we'll go in depth about how this classroom psychology helps us to understand the student. In order to relate or connect with the student, we have to understand the student. When a fresher enters into a college, a first year degree student enters, or a first year PG student enters into a college, we have to know what they are feeling. Then only we can connect with them. So for that reason, I've kept this slide. So here, classroom psychology, what is the importance or significance? In which way it is useful to us? It helps teachers, to refine and develop instructional methods. If you know about the student, what are his learning patterns, what is his thinking capability, what are his IT intellectual levels, if you know all these things, we can refine and develop our pedagogical methods or our instructional methods and create, a learning rich classroom. Okay, so for this, the students, the students' beliefs or perceptions about intelligence and ability, it affects their cognitive functioning and learning. And teachers, they have a tremendous ability to help students learn by treating all students as capable learners. All the 60 students who are in the class, we have to treat them without any bias, irrespective whether he's a fast learner or a slow learner or a average learner, whatsoever it is, we have to treat everyone equally. So how do we do this? So first thing, the first point there, if you see, it is students' beliefs or perceptions. All right. So here, now what I mean to say here, they, for example, when a student comes and suppose, normally because I teach science, when we are teaching chemistry, as such, students have a phobia with chemistry. You're scared. They must be doing very good, but they're scared. Chemistry is always a subject which, they are always scared. So the student as such has got a fear in his mind about chemistry. And when we are teaching chemistry, though he is good with the basics, though he may be, or he or she may be grasping whatever we are telling them, but then also the fear is there. Out of the fear, he may not fare well in the exam. That is one set of students. And one set of students, as such, they are not good in chemistry. So there are some phobia subjects. Maths is another phobia subject. So when we have to, first of all, remove that belief or that perception from the student's mind, you have to teach in such a way that this student, till now, if he was having a fear about these subjects, from now onwards, it all depends upon the faculty who is teaching, how good we teach the subject, how entertainingly we teach the subject, how we make it user friendly to them, rather than when a student says this is quite difficult. So first of all, when we are explaining any concept, it is always good that we say it is an easy concept. You only have to lend your ears more. You have to pay more concentration and understanding, but it is really a very easy topic. It must be a tough topic. It must be a tough topic, but always try to remove that perception of the student that it is a tough topic. He, as such, has got fear of the subject. And still, if you say it's a tough topic, now this derivation is very difficult. You have to understand what is integration, differentiation, then only you can derive this. When we say this, the student has no interest in listening to what we are teaching them. So first of all, try to understand the perception level of the student and then deal with him. Always say that it is very easy. You only have to listen. I'm here to explain you 2 to 3 times. You only have to listen, but it is quite easy. I'm pretty sure the entire class can understand this at one go. So these are some, manipulative statements that we tell beforehand when we are explaining a difficult concept. That's the first one. Second one, what student already know affects their learning. Okay, so no, now it is, uh, for example, understanding what a student's learning history is. Now, for example, a student always in some when students come from normally, after college hours, they have study hours. So repeatedly, those topics are only given to them, and their learning habit, their teaching habit in the intermediate was only by writing. Write as many number of times. Okay. And if you go to some other colleges, it is about peer tutoring, where their own classmates, the advanced learners, will teach the weak learners. So these are all the learning patterns. So some students can learn a concept by writing it n number of times. Some students will do rote learning. They will by heart the concept without understanding the content. Some students can understand only if his friend will explain. When the teacher is explaining, they will not listen. First of all, they feel, okay, she's quite complicated. She may tell in high end English, or I may not understand. My friend only, my so and so friend only can make me understand. So these are some of the belief levels of our students. So no, this you have to first find out. All 60 are different, and we have to first to find out what kind of learning he is into. Okay, if you go to foreign countries, gamification is their way of teaching. They learn everything with games. So it depends. Now, suppose a student is coming from abroad to India, he's continuing his education in India, he will definitely not like the chalk and talk method or the peer tutoring method, whatever we are following. So we have to tailor make ourselves to his method of learning. Okay, so that is the second point. Third one, students' cognitive development and learning are not limited by general stages of development. So here, no, it's critical to understand that some students may not fit well into theoretical framework. That means, it is not that the pedagogy that we are following. Since ages, we are following chalk and talk method, okay, or we follow PowerPoint presentations. So I'm not saying that this methodology is wrong, but all the 60 students don't follow this kind of methodology. Sometimes students like interactive discussion, or else, I can give a topic and I can ask, you all form groups and you come and present. At that time, this child may show more interest. Okay, nowadays you have flipped classrooms, wherein you give the topic beforehand, the student learns it from home and he comes and presents it the next day. So here you're involving the student so that the student also feels responsible or accountable, and he feels like showcasing himself. Okay, so you have to understand these learning patterns. Then the next one is learning is based on context. So generalizing learning to new context is not spontaneous, rather it needs to be facilitated. Here, no, the teacher has to guide students as to how new abilities and new learning spreads out to other applications outside the learning context. Are you getting my point here? You know what happens? The student is used to only one kind of learning. If you're trying to change, suppose it's only chalk and talk method. All of a sudden you say, from today I'm not going to teach anything, we are going to go with a flipped classroom, so I'm going to give some topics, you all have to prepare it at home and come, and next day you have to present it. The student may not like it. So first you have to convince the student why you are adopting this new pedagogy. So you have to tell the student, see, this will help you in being independent. Tomorrow when you're doing your research, it is useful to you. I'm not going to give any handouts hereafter. You have to prepare your own notes. So when you prepare your own notes, you refer to n number of books, you develop your understanding skills, you develop your self-reflection, right? So you have to first convince the student about the new pedagogy and then only lead him into new pedagogy. Suddenly, all of a sudden, when you say, no, today I'm not doing this, I'm going to change the pattern of my teaching, they will definitely write a feedback and give it to the HOD saying that she's not teaching, she's not coming prepared to the class. Because students know they don't have there is no compulsion for them, so they will simply randomly talk, and suppose a serious action is taken without understanding, the teacher may lose her job. But it is not like that. So always try to convince your student why you're adopting a new teaching pedagogy, and then only introduce a new pedagogy to the student. So students are the major stakeholders for us, so we have to first convince them, they have to feel happy, they have to feel benefited, then the task becomes very easy for us. Then acquiring long-term knowledge and skill is largely dependent on practice. So this is quite common now when you come to chemistry or you come to mathematics or physics, it all depends upon practice. So practice is that one term, they have to practice. It's not like that once I do. Now, for example, we have any physiological process or any metabolic reaction in the body. So today I'm explaining one metabolic reaction. Do you think after a week, will the student remember? Absolutely not. Today when I explain, the student may understand it 100%. But after a week's time, definitely the student will have problems in responding to the question which I had told him 1 week back. The only mantra for that is they have to practice. So we also should emphasize the skill of practice. Practice means not only reading, writing and practice. So we have to feed it in their mind that they have to write the concepts and practice. So most of our students are very lazy. They don't feel like writing and practicing, but we have to emphasize the skill. We have to show them the benefit. When you read and practice, you can't represent the chemical formula. That only you write. You may read 10 times and you will forget. But if you write 2 times, you will remember. Let them. So for this, no, teachers should have a lot of patience, wherein, we sit in the remedial classes, we sit with them and make them understand. How we do it with our own children, we have to do it even with our students in the class. Sit with them, spend some time. So this is all basis is connection, how we connect with the students. So now when they are writing, their skill, their brain is totally, even the subconscious mind is into that particular topic, and it will help them to grasp the concept quickly. Ma'am, next slide. Right. Then you have clear, explanatory and timely feedback to student is important for learning. Most of the times, we hesitate as a faculty. Basically, today my talk is for the freshers, the faculty who have newly joined this field of teaching. Because, old timers, we are all very much familiar. We have learned it out of our experience. Those days, 19, 20 years back, we didn't have any FDPs conducted for us. So whatever learning that has taken place, it is all by trial and error method. So whatever I'm expressing today is all my experiences as a fresher when I had joined in the college, and today after these 20 years, how I feel. So all these have culminated and I'm coming forward. So this basically is for the freshers who are teaching for the first time. So as I told you here, feedback is very, very important. Okay, feedback is important. What happens, intermittent tests that we conduct, or sometimes in the class when we ask the question, they give an answer, and suppose they are not clear with it, we then also know, in order to impress a child, in order to make him feel happy, we say, okay, very good, sit down. But it is not like that. Whatever, we can say that your concept is correct, but you have not put it properly. You can improvise on it, or else, you're missing out on the technical language. Okay, some of the papers we have to use certain technical words, and when the student doesn't use it, he tells it in his own word. You can't tell definitions and theorems in your own words, so we can always correct them. Give timely feedback. It's not that you simply say good, good, good in order, so you get a good feedback and you continue your job. Instead of keeping that in mind, give timely feedback to the student, so there is a formative improvement in the student. Otherwise, only when they get their marks at the end, if that time, if you tell them stories, see, you should have written and practiced, or your writing skill is not good, you know the content, but you don't know how to express it in the paper. Normally we do this. We are very lazy to tell them intermittently, but it is always a good habit that we give them instant feedback. When they are answering in the class, we can always be very polite in telling, where they don't feel embarrassed. These days students are very, very conscious, so a little change in words can hurt them. So we have to be very diplomatic enough in telling what we have to tell them. Then next one, students self-regulation, assess learning, and self-regulatory skills can be taught. So here, no, self-regulation means it refers to the student's ability to control their emotions and behavior. When they are sitting in the class, most of the times might be the student is not interested. First and foremost thing, if the student likes the teacher only, he will like the subject. It is never that he likes the subject, so he will like the teacher also. It is always he or she will like the teacher. Then an additional boost to understand the subject is developed in the student. So it is the teacher who, tries to bring out all the hidden talents of the student towards that particular subject. So here what we can do, the student, he has to control his emotions and behavior, so that this learning happens peacefully. Sometimes he's not interested in the class. He sits with a very poor body language, okay, which is very irritating for the faculty who is teaching, because we have to look around all the 60 students, 120 eyes we keep seeing. So it's very, very taxing, and sometimes we get irritated, we lose our calm, because when they start yawning in the class, we are consciously top of the voice, we are shouting and explaining, and when they are yawning, or when they are seeing the watch, these are the things that students keep doing. They're seeing their watch, or seeing outside the window, or else drawing some flowers in the book. We see these are the normal things that they do. So we lose our cool. But what we can do is, we can always, to lighten the moment, we can ask them to get up and tell, yeah, what exactly you're doing, what is the problem, you're not interested today, what happened? Okay, let me take a break. Let me take a break for a minute, and let's discuss, so that we once again get back on track. Don't leave the student like that. He's drawing, let him draw. After the class, I will call him and scold him. No, because we are not going to explain in the same way. So take a break. Take a break. Then we will have 60 students like that, each doing some mess or the other. But we have to take a break. When you take a break with one student, the rest of the 59 will set right. We have to take a break, handle student on one-on-one basis. When one student is doing some mess, normally what teachers do, they leave the class and go away. The anger is shown on the entire class for no reason. For no reason, the anger is shown on the entire class. And keep in mind, next day we have to again walk back to the same class. So, we lose our morale when we are doing this. Instead of that, if a student is doing something messy, catch hold of that student only and handle that student then and there. What is the problem? Why are you not listening? Even this one sentence will put them on track. Its only thing is that we don't have that connect with the students. So that's why, whenever you tell something, they get angry, they get offended. But, if you are very polite and saying, what happened? Why are you like this? Till late night, you were watching a movie. What is it all about? Why are you disturbed? You just tell them, they will get back on track. Till now, they might have not heard you, but from then onwards, they will listen. The remaining 59 also will start listening to you. So then and there, talk to the student in a very polite manner without hurting their sentiments, because students have become very emotional post COVID, right? Then the next one, um, students tend to enjoy learning and perform better when they are more intrinsically than extrinsically motivated. So it has to come from within. As I told you, you have to generate that interest from within. Now, how do we generate this interest from within? Is, first of all, we have to be lively. If you go with a morose face, and okay, this is part of my job, only if I teach today I can complete their syllabus, only if I complete their syllabus they'll give a good feedback, then only I will get my salary. These notions shouldn't be there. We have to be very passionate about our teaching, because where you're passionate only, you will not feel it burdensome. So you have to be very lively when you go to the class, and whatever we are teaching, let us relate it to the current situation. Now, for instance, if I'm teaching digestion, okay, I'm teaching glycolytic pathway, or I'm teaching electron transport chain in biochemistry, or else if I'm teaching rDNA technology, any concept, okay, gene editing, whatever I'm teaching, just relate it with a live example that's there in the universe, so that the student feels that yes, the student should always feel, why am I reading this subject? The student should not feel that I read something but I'm not going to apply it in my life. No, the student should feel that today I have learned this, in this way I'm going to apply this concept in my real life. So always relate your content in such a way that they apply it in their real life situation. This will help them to have that interest, and they will listen to you. First of all, you have to be quite happy when you are explaining the concept, and the second most important thing is relate it to the current trend, to the current happening, so that they feel yes, there is some meaning in me learning this. Otherwise, what is the point? Why should I learn the all the 10 steps and so many chemical reactions, so many enzymes? What is the point? No. In which way? What happens if glycolysis doesn't take place in the body, or in a cancerous patient, if glycolysis is taking place more number of times, then what exactly is happening? So connect them with the real time situations. That's very important. And then teachers' expectations about their students affect students' opportunities to learn, their motivation, and their learning outcomes. So, no, this all the time we keep missing. We don't praise our children. We, our biological children, or even students, sometimes just thinking that no, this fellow will sit on my head. But once in a while, we definitely have to, pat on their back and say, yes, you're doing a good job. Good, you have good creativity skills. And everything should be instant. What we do in the class is more, more motivating to the student, rather than calling aside after the class, meeting them in the recess break and telling that you're very good, you're very patient enough, you listen to my classes. No, tell them in the class. Tell them in the class in front of their students, so that the others also feel that yes, I should also receive such compliments from my teacher. Okay, so you can always encourage your students by giving a positive feedback. We also have parent teachers meetings in the colleges, so you can talk. You really have a wonderful child, very very decent, and very innovative, very creative, very hardworking. We also can do that. Okay, so the feedback plays a very important role. And the last one, emotional well-being influences educational performance, learning, and development. So sometimes, what happens? Suppose the student is having some domestic problem at home. Nowadays, you have many single parent children coming to college. So there are situations where the child is not in a proper emotional state. The child is a very good learner. The child is a very good learner, well behaved, he's a topper in the class. But there are days when the child is not in his proper um, mindset. He's not having a proper mindset due to some problems at home. And we are unaware of it. We are unaware of it, and we simply scream on them. What happened to you today? Why are you not answering? Nowadays you're not listening to me. No, leave the child. Leave the child. If you have enough connect with the student, if the student is not an introvert and an extrovert, you have to handle all the 60 students differently. There is no one universal principle that you can apply on all the 60 students. So if you feel the child is an extrovert, or at least who will open up when you ask a question. You can say, what happened? Is everything fine with you? I hope you get back to the normal at the earliest. Please try to listen. Okay, instead of that, making him or her stand, throwing his book, sending him outside the class. They're all grown up individuals. We no longer can do this mess with them. And not only with college students, not even with school students, not only with our own children also, we can't do that, because they have become very, very, very sensitive. Might be the way we are upbringing up them, is there must be a defect. But nowadays the students have become very sensitive, so you can't be that harsh. So you can just put in a statement, what happened, what's wrong with you? I understand your situation. Please try to get back on track, because you're missing out on the content that I'm teaching. So the student may get back. Rather than shouting, screaming at him, the rest of the students who are in the class also will get disturbed. When they see that form of yours, they get disturbed all the time. Where they're seeing a cool madam is always very patient, cool, well dressed, and all that. All of a sudden, when you start screaming and shouting and throwing their book and releasing some worst words, they get disturbed. The others, the student himself and the others also get disturbed. So we always have to tackle one person at a time in the class in a very polite manner, and not punish the whole class, because we are unaware of the emotional experiences what the child is facing in their life. Today he may be dull, tomorrow he may get back on track. So handle it to that level only. Right, ma'am? Next slide. Yeah. So now here, under classroom psychology, it basically involves two important things. One is classroom behavior, another one is class control and class management. Okay, class control and class management is just one topic. I'll first tell you about classroom behavior. The next slide. Classroom behavior. You just find the class to be like this. One is doing their own work, one is daydreaming, one is looking into the phone. Look, they can't look, unlike IITs, where a phone is, they can use phone. But in some of our institutions we still say no using cell phones. And some are sleeping, some are talking with the neighbors. So the classroom behavior is different, because students are like that. Everyone has got their own thinking patterns, their own mindset, their own upbringings, their own value systems. So all 60 are different 60 specimens in the class. Now we have to get all these 60 on track. So the first and foremost thing to regularize this classroom behavior, we normally make rules. When I enter the class, all should stand up, all should wish me. When I'm taking the attendance, all should answer the attendance. There should be no murmurings in between. These are all the rules that we frame. But keep in mind, when we frame rules, it becomes very difficult to handle the students. Okay, it's very easy when you connect with the student, and as a default mechanism, they start obeying the rules. Okay, as we get up in the morning and brush our teeth, take bath, and then we have our breakfast, it has become a routine for us. So in the same way, the classroom behavior should be a routine. For this, the teacher should be consistent. The teacher should be consistent means the teacher should, the way she put forth herself in front of the student should be the same. One day a teacher can't be very polite, and the second day she can't be short tempered. What's happening, and even we are emotionally disturbed, but we can't showcase it. So one day I'm very pleasing, very good, and very friendly with the student, saying very good. Whatever she answers, whether it is wrong or right, we say very good, excellent, excellent. And the other day, even if she's answering it right, we say, no, this is not the way I taught you. This is not acceptable. Go read and come. You're not concentrating these days. You can't be like that. You have to be consistent. Being consistent means being emotionally balanced. They're still children. Our students, though they are college students, they're still small children compared to us. The maturity level is still less in them. So because we are highly matured enough, we have to be emotionally stable. Irrespective of our personal problems, we should never showcase it to the student. We have to be consistent. Discipline should be from our side. If I am disciplined, the entire class will be disciplined, because they will know how to talk to me, how to behave with me. Suppose I don't come to class on time, then definitely the student also will take me light. He will never try to respect me because he knows I don't value time. Okay, today I teach very well. Today I come prepared and teach very well. Tomorrow I simply come and pass away the time. And the student knows, okay, ma'am herself is not consistent. So it's okay. Today I can learn. Today I can answer. Tomorrow I can relax. So we have to create a set of discipline. The way we behave, the way we put ourselves forward to the student, we get the same response from the student. Okay, so classroom behavior largely and solely depends upon the teacher who is taking up the class. How consistent we are with our daily routine in the class matters the most. Now, next slide. So children are not born with an understanding of the rules of acceptable behavior. Okay, as a default, this chip is not inserted in them. They have to learn them and need adults to do this. So as an adult, we are the adult in the classroom and we have to teach them. This is how you have to dress up. You can't dress up as if you're going for a party. When you're coming to the class to teach the students, in India at least, the most preferable attire that we wear is a sari for females and a normally tucked pant shirt for a male. You just can't come, with a ghagra or something like that. So there's a definite attire for us. In the same way, when you're teaching, okay, when the medium of communication is English, it's mandatory that you teach in English. Okay, if you have some students from vernacular background, once or twice you can make, with the new educational policy coming up where there is also, more favor for regional languages. Okay, here and there, if the management permits, if the school atmosphere permits, you can use it. But everything is limited. When we follow those rules, then it is very easy for us. There is a pattern. I'm going to talk about the pattern, how we are going to teach in a class, what we have to do when we enter a class. I'm going to tell you in my upcoming slides. So it is if we are disciplined, if we are consistent, then the behavior of our students is good. If we ourselves are not disciplined and inconsistent, showing our tantrums all the time, one day very happy, one day very sloggy, irritating, shouting, screaming, one day very strict, one day just playing antakshari with the students, and all this, the student is confused. What teacher do I have? I don't understand what she's, and they take us light. So we have to, maintain, raise the bar and keep, so that our students behave well in the class. Ma'am, next slide. Okay, coming to the importance of classroom management. So that was about behavior. Now, why we have to manage the class. So first, and there are three main reasons why we have to manage the class, because, it creates and sustains an orderly learning environment in the class. We have to first create it, just like that. Learning doesn't play just like that. For a proper learning environment, I have to, when I say this, all the benches must be arranged. You can't see that one student is sitting at one corner of the room, other student is sitting at another corner, and randomly they're sitting here and there, and I start teaching. It doesn't take place like that. I need an orderly arrangement in the class. So that is an orderly learning. I'll have a bulletin board, I will have a blackboard, whiteboard, and then I'll have all benches arranged. The teacher will be on the pedestal, and so this is a normal setup of the class. If suppose a class is untidy, bits of paper here and there, can I just move around those bits of paper and just talk something messy and come? No, the environment plays a very important role. So there comes the decency, there comes the behavior of the student. We have elected leaders, representatives of the class, who are in charge of the discipline of the class. Okay, if the room is very dirty, just call the support staff and ask them. Actually, as such, also the support staff cleans it on daily basis, but it has to be highly organized. All the benches should be neatly organized, and the students should come and sit right from the first bench. Normally we see some of the classes, if they don't like the teacher, they start from the second bench. The first benches are left vacant. People don't come and sit in the front bench, always occupying the last bench so that they can have their own good time. It shouldn't be like that. The classroom arrangement, it depends upon the teacher. Come and sit in the front bench. Don't put your hand always into the bag, because you're always putting their hand into the bag, seeing the cell phone, searching for the messages. So there is an orderly arrangement. The teacher herself should not look into the phone when she's in the class. We carry our cell phones. if at all the management is permitting. And all the time, whenever we are teaching, we teach a statement and then we look into the cell phone. The student will take us for granted. He will also look into the cell phone. So how we behave, the student also behaves in the same way with us. So we shouldn't do something, wrong, wherein the student will follow us. So that first thing is you have to create an orderly learning environment. As soon as we go, the student should wish us, greet us, say good morning, students. Students also say good morning, ma'am. So this is an atmosphere that is created. Some self-respect between both the student and teacher. Then improves meaningful academic learning and fosters social emotional growth. So here, if everything is set up properly, then I can deliver my content. To deliver the content, I have to first prepare thoroughly and go to the class, because with this advent of technology, AI booming up, you have Google Bard, you have Chat GPT. There is no concept unturned. Student is aware of everything. So the student has more knowledge than us. So for that preparation, we have to prepare a lot. Compared long time back, we were only having the textbook knowledge, but now we have to relate it with the present trend and also the latest happenings in that particular field, so that we are not behind the students. We are, when the student is speaking something, we should not say, oh, I didn't know, is it? No, not necessarily. Now with the advent of AI technology, we also can use Chat GPT, Google Bard and all these, and we also can say, yes, I'm also aware of it, yes, I'm going to discuss about it in detail. So something like that. So this, when you have an orderly seating arrangement, then the procedure of teaching, learning is more meaningful. For this, the teacher has to come prepared. The last one, it increases students' academic engagement and lowers negative classroom behavior. So if I'm speaking right, if I'm speaking logical, if I'm speaking something which the student can relate to, if I'm updating myself, I can't talk some 1960s story here. I have to talk what is happening in 2003, in which way the technology, the basic technology that I'm teaching them, I have to relate it to 2003 and teach. If I'm teaching what happened in 1960, he also can go home and read from his book, but I have to relate it and teach. So when I'm doing that, when I'm updating the student he is paying enough fees and coming to college. So as my duty, I have to give him an updated information. I should not waste his time. He's paying money so that I give him updated information. What is the point if I teach him some 20 years backstory? He again has to go home and update. So he will pay money and he will again update also. He has no time. So we have to give that updated information. For that, the student will be highly attracted to whatever is happening in the class. He will not have time to play with his phone, because he's so conscious in listening to us, how it is being related to the present trend. He will not have that feeling of talking to someone or yawning or looking outside the class or looking at the watch like when ma'am will go away. He will not have that feeling. He will feel interested when you connect him with the real time situations. Okay, so this is the importance of classroom management. Next slide, ma'am. Right. Then 4 components of classroom management. First one is classroom design, as I told you, where what has to be kept, everything should be clean. The atmosphere, the environment should be good. Then rules and discipline. Now, rules and discipline, as I told you, there are some classroom rules, like, the class representative is a connecting link between the faculty and the student. Right. So suppose I'm giving a handout, or else I have to, pass on some information. There is a procedure, there is a protocol. The entire 60 students can't come running to me. Okay. It is through their concerns are supposed to reach me only through the elected representative. So this is one rule, and that we emphasize in the college, rather than creating crowd and making a mess out of it. And then discipline is how you talk. Now suppose the student wants to ask a question. He's not understanding what I'm teaching him, so he wants to ask a question. So there is a method of asking. He just can't say, what you're telling I'm not understanding. He can't say, now can you please re-explain that point, that concept is not bit clear. So this is what we teach him. Might be initially the student will talk, what you're telling I'm not understanding, or I don't know about this topic. I can't understand. So teach him. Very good. You're not understanding. I appreciate. I appreciate that you stood up and you voiced out, but please, there is a refined way of asking, ma'am, the concept is not clear. Can you please elaborate it? Okay, so that part also we have to teach them. How to ask a question politely to us is also we have to teach them. So this all this comes under rules and discipline. And then scheduling organization means, where they have to be on time, and we also have to complete our portion on time. So suppose you have exams starting from tomorrow, I can't keep teaching them till today evening until they leave home. I can't keep teaching and just dumping them with topics. I have to give them some breathing space where they reflect on what I'm teaching, they come back with doubts and I help them out, all such things. So I have to be very disciplined in scheduling my teaching pattern. And in the same way, the student also should know, okay, today first unit is over, so by another 1 week he should be thorough with the first unit. He can't pile up all the 5 units and just read before the exam. So that scheduling and organization should be from both the ends, mainly because it is for the teachers. I'm telling you, we have to be thoroughly definitely we have lesson plans, so we thoroughly plan like which month, which unit I'm going to complete, and how many tests I'm going to conduct, and all those things we should always plan. Then instructional technique is, the pedagogy pattern, whichever. As I told you, if I'm using the PowerPoint presentation, I randomly can't call one student who has stage fear and tell him tomorrow you have to give a PowerPoint presentation. I can't do that. I have to call the student. The moment I tell the student will tell, no, ma'am, I have stage fear. I can't talk. If you want, I will write, but I can't come and teach in front of the class. Motivate him. See, this is the time. Tomorrow you will have to face interviews. At that time, group discussions will take place. How will you talk? I'm giving you a chance. I'm there to support you. You don't have to worry. If you want, I'll help you out. Wherever you're stuck in between, I'm there to support you. And this is common for all the students. Don't worry. None of them is going to talk anything to you. I'm here with you. Boost the student so that first of all, he gains the courage to come up with a presentation. So that motivation is also very important. So your instructional technique, whatever you're using, you have to convince the student that he's happy using that. He should not feel that ma'am doesn't want to teach, that's why she is making us do ppts and all this. Normally the student thinks like that, but always convince the student, see how you have improved. You were an introvert, now by giving these kind of presentations, slowly you will come out, you will improve your oration skills. So we can talk like that. Ma'am, next slide. Yeah, so this is an actual slide that we have to go on. The classroom management secret. So how we manage, this is a technique that I've been following, and I guess most of the colleges follow also. So the first and foremost thing, as the bell rings, so before the bell rings, it's not after listening to the bell that we get up from the staff room and then go to the class. It should never be like that. When we are in a hurry, whatever we want to speak also, we may not speak properly. So always try to be at least 3 to 5 minutes before the bell in front of the classroom. That is the most, actually with that your day starts. Before the class, at least try to be 3 to 5 minutes ahead of the bell in front of your class, so that you're at peace. The student also knows that yes, ma'am is there, and he or she also will try to refer the previous class content, because they very well know that we will ask them. So they will also be very conscious in learning the previous. Otherwise, till the end of the day, they will be only discussing what happened yesterday, how they chatted, what dress they wore, what food they ate, only this. But at least when the teacher is standing in front of the class, they are disciplined and they feel that yes, now if she asks me, I have to tell something. So the first and foremost thing, before the bell, at least 3 to 5 minutes before the bell, kindly stand in front of the class. Then the second one is, as soon as you enter the class, greet students with a smile. Okay, don't go with that frown face, that emotional baggage that is there in our head. If we carry that and go, definitely our students will not listen to us, because all students are visual creatures. They look at us. If the teacher is good in the sense happy, then they feel like receiving from us. But if we ourselves feel very lethargic, lazy, don't want to teach, they will never learn. So always greet students with a smile. And then you connect with them. Soon after we going into the class, you greet them, and then we take up the attendance. So when we are taking up the attendance, suppose 3 is absent, so you'll say, yeah, yesterday you were absent. I remember you were absent yesterday. What happened? There's nothing wrong if you spend a half a minute or 1 minute on a student to connect and ask, what happened? Why didn't you come yesterday? Why do you look so dull? Aren't you feeling well? Oh, you look very bright today. What? Good, 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 nice dress, nice shirt. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. Instead of, describing the student for a half a second, praise the student. If the student looks dull, ask him, what's wrong? What's wrong? Why are you looking dull? Why are you looking too good today? What happened? Then take the attendance. Then next is the backup. Whatever I taught yesterday, I can ask the student. I can ask them to close their book and ask the student what they have learned from the previous class. Ask some questions. Then you can gauge. The student also will be conscious that he has to come prepared for the classes, because ma'am will not proceed further if we don't talk about the previous class. So student is also prepared, as well as you revise the class. So it is easy for you to continue with the portion. Then you teach. You start your teaching. So whichever pedagogy that you're following, you teach them. And you, as I told you before also, you relate to the present situation. Okay, specify the importance of learning that topic. Why they have to learn that topic is very important, right? So the student should not feel that something is happening in the class, something which happened so many years back, now why she is telling me what I should do. No, relate your topic with the um, so there's a power failure here at my end. Okay. So what exactly I wanted to tell is that you have to relate with the content that is happening right now. Madam, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we have to relate with the content that is uh, with real life situations. You have to relate the content. And when we are teaching, we have to look at all the students, engage all the students when we are teaching. Okay, look at each and every one. Most of the times what happens, we the one who is yawning or the one who is lazy, we feel that if I look at him, no, I will lose my chance of my way of teaching. I'm going to detract myself, and we don't look at them. But it is not like that. We have to look at all the 60 students and teach. So we are engaging all the students. Then most of the time, with this generation of students, we have to use an interactive pedagogy where we are involving everyone. So you can give 10 minutes of your talk, your content, and then preferably a group activity or any kind of gamification in the class. Okay, now you have so many tech tools. You can just make them play so that they learn the concept. Like all 40 minutes I'm going to tell a story and they have to sit and listen, because the attention span of the student is not more than 25 minutes. So it becomes very difficult for them to listen. So try to change the pedagogy so that each and every one is involved. Okay, then keep your instructions simple. Don't use complicated sentences or high-end English, or something which the student gets scared, because all the students are not with the same intellect. So keep it very, very simple so that everyone understand and they don't get scared. First of all, they should not have the fear of the subject. So having the fear, and plus if the teacher also uses high-end language, it is very difficult for the student uh, to understand. The teacher should be always approachable with basic language, so that it is easy for the student to connect with us. Then if a student is answering well, praise them, compliment them, then and there compliment them. And sometimes you can move one step ahead by giving a reward. One chocolate, one pen, a pen of 10 rupees also, not a big deal. But reward your students. If not these materialistic things, that one word that you say, very good. Nowadays, you really are rocking. You're doing very good. Good creative skills, or you're thinking very good. You're very innovative. Whatever we tell, that one word will boost them whole day. All the 5 to 6 hours that they are in the college, they'll feel very happy. You try it. So establish a reward system. Then if at all someone is screwing up the class, someone is disturbing you, then and there deal with them, but very politely. And then most of the times, no, you have to be very observant. You have to see the body language of the student. Sometimes with their facial expression, or sometimes, as I told you before also, they just keep, putting their head down, or looking into the bag, or looking outside the window. Just see the facial expression, and try to understand the root cause of their behavior. Why is it like that? Okay, it is the time before the lunch break. So this fellow or this girl is feeling hungry. Stop teaching. It's not mandatory that all the time, I thought I have to complete this content. I am going to teach it irrespective whether my student understands or no. I have decided to teach, so I will teach. It shouldn't be like that. We also have to understand their psychology, that it is before the lunch break, and they want to, and they're feeling hungry, or else it's raining very heavily outside. So as such, it is very dull, dark. I can't teach a very important topic and ask them to focus on it. Okay, so I have to read the mind of the student and teach the content. If the student majority of the class is not liking it, I have to leave them free. Okay, it's, if one or two are not feeling it right, I should teach. I should set them right and I should teach. But suppose the out of 60, if 30 are not interested, then there's no point in I proceeding further. Read the mind of the student, try to understand the root cause of the behavior, and then you can decide whether you have to teach or no. Then you should also, when we go to the staff room, it's good that we discuss about our students rather than discussing our personal stories or gossiping. It's good that we discuss about the student. How about roll number 1? Roll number 10 is very good. Or roll number 20, okay, she has attention disorder, she can't listen for a long time. When we discuss like that, we get some ideas in which we can mentor our students properly. So it's always good that we build some supplementary relationship with our colleagues so that we can improvise our students. Okay, so two minds can work much better than one mind. So we can help to mentor our students, and we can also sometimes connect with the parents. When you find that the student is not coming to the college regularly, or she happens to come one day, and parents complain that she's coming every day from home, but she's not seen in the college. So we can sit with the parent and sit with the student sometimes in presence of a counselor, and try to find out the root cause of it. And if it is really bad, then you definitely have to take an action, because after some days the parents will come and blame with us, because all the 4 or 5 hours that students are with us, it is our responsibility of keeping them safe. But if the student is telling, I'm going to college, and they are roaming out somewhere, it's high time we call the parents in presence of the counselor, discuss the entire issue, and sort it out. Okay, so this is, the classroom management. And always you have to conclude your class with, you know, crack a joke, something, or at least tell a good quote, some good advice, some value system, where the child should feel that, yes, if ma'am comes to the class, there's something good that I'm going to learn. All that 60 minutes, she will not simply come and talk about that one derivation or one concept. No, it's only that students have an attention span of 25 to 30 minutes. So my teaching content should be only 25 to 30 minutes. The rest of the time, I have to connect with the students. I have to ask about what happened, what did I teach in the previous class, and how are they going to apply it with a real time situation, crack a joke, teach them some value, something like that. Okay. So these, and when you're leaving the class, the student should feel that, ma'am, another 5 minutes. Suppose I pass on my bell time and still stay back, the student should not feel bored. They should not say, ma'am, it's lunch break, or ma'am, time is up. No, that time, that is a, you get to know what kind of teacher you are when students do that. So always try to be very crisp in the content that you're delivering. Ma'am, next slide. Yeah, these are just some quotes which I felt we all relate with it. Okay, the number one problem in the classroom is not discipline. Okay, it is a lack of authentic learning task, procedure, and routine. So if you don't go well planned for the class, what I have to do, if I don't know, then there is going to be chaos in the class. People are going to talk and disturb you. If I know how to control my class, if I have some things in my mind, okay, today I'm going to conduct a group discussion, I have to plan and go to the class, then everything is good. If I don't go with the planning, then So if you see the third quote, an effective leader manages a classroom. An ineffective leader disciplines a classroom. So if I go prepared, no, automatically what I'm speaking makes sense and the student will listen to me. But if I'm speaking something rubbish, then they will start talking amongst themselves. Then I have to shout and talk about rules and regulations to discipline the class. So always everything lies in the hands of the teachers. Then children learn more from who you are than what you teach. As I told you, our outlook, our body language, the way we conduct ourselves plays an important role because teachers are leaders and we influence them a lot. After going home, also in their subconscious mind, our behavior remains in them. They behave like us, they talk like us. Okay, it is a teacher that makes a difference, not the classroom. Long time back, Rabindranath Tagore didn't have four-walled classroom. He took it even in the open air. Okay, so here the center of attraction was the teacher. It was not the environment. But here now that we are not taking in the open air, when we are taking in the classroom, we need the classroom to be disciplined. We need the classroom to have those required parameters so that the teaching becomes easy for us. Right, ma'am? Next slide. Yeah, I'm going to conclude with this slide. In an effective classroom, students should not only know what they are doing, they should also know why and how. As I told you, related to the real-time situation. This is very, very important. Once they know why they are learning that concept and in which way it is helpful to them, how it is helpful to them, then you don't have to worry how your class is going to be. It will be a highly disciplined class. Thoroughly, they will understand the content that you want to deliver. That's it. I guess that was the last slide. Yeah. Thank you. Now I'm open for questions. If anyone wants to ask me anything, you all can ask.